Okay, we're gonna make cheese sauce for macaroni and cheese. This is just a basic cheese sauce. It can be doctored up in some different ways to cater to however you want to do it, but just for a basic, this is the one that I'm gonna do for Thanksgiving. I've got 2 cups of sharp shredded cheddar cheese here. I have 1 cup of Monterey Jack. I have 1 cup of Colby Jack, which is that yellow and white marbled looking one. The Monterey is just the all white, and again, sharp cheddar cheese. Here they are, Monterey Jack, the Colby Jack, and just regular sharp cheddar cheese. Tip number 1, do not use pre-shredded cheese that already is shredded in the bag. If you taste this cheese and then you taste the cheese that's already shredded in the bag, you'll know why. The one that comes in the bag has like a coating on it, and it just, you'll trust me, if you taste fresh cheese versus bag cheese, you'll never want to go back. So if you're making something like macaroni and cheese, especially on Thanksgiving, don't use the pre-shredded bag cheese. Use fresh cheese grated off the block. I've got a little bit of dry mustard powder here. I have milk. This happens to be 2%. You can use whatever milk you want. Probably not recommended to use 1%, but at least 2% or whole I think would be fun. You'll also need 8 ounces of Velveeta cheese, which I have here. So if you just buy this size 16-ounce box, it'll be exactly half the 8 ounces of Velveeta cheese. We're gonna need salt and pepper, which I've got back there. And that is everything that you'll need, and of course, butter and flour. So we'll start with 4 tablespoons of butter. So that's the first step.
Okay. What temperature is it at?
It's just like a medium heat.
Okay.
Medium to medium high. So I can get this butter going, get the butter melting. We'll put it right in the pan. Easy peasy. Butter makes everything better, right?
It does.
Definitely not a diet dish here. Okay.
Well, that's not what Thanksgiving's about.
That's right, Maddie. Okay, so we're gonna get this butter going. You're gonna need a whisk, which I have here at the ready. Probably a spatula, which I have here as well.
A whisk and a spatula, and so you don't get your table dirty.
Okay.
Counter, I mean.
And then once this butter gets melted,
It's melting.
It's melting. It's doing a good job melting here.
Yeah.
Once it's melted, we're gonna do a heaping third cup of flour. Back up, Maddie, just a little bit. So we'll do a heaping 1/3 cup of flour, and that's gonna go into that hot butter. Once that butter is bubbly and sizzling, that's when you want to go in with the flour. So, I guess about like that's a heaping 1/3 cup right there. Okay, so I've got this ready. Go ahead and put the lid back on. And that's ready, waiting for me. Come back to this butter here. Here we go. See how it's foaming?
Yes.
It's getting bubbly and foaming.
Foaming,
and
melting,
hot.
bubbly, hot.
Okay.
Very unhealthy for you. When it looks unhealthy, that's when you know it's good.
Okay.
I feel like that's a lot of... Isn't this technically a roux?
This is a roux. When you put butter and flour together like this, and it starts coming together to this sort of thick paste that you see here.
Kind of like the start off to a gravy.
That's exactly right. That's exactly, gosh, I didn't know you knew all that. Yeah, so if you're making a gravy,
I know more than people think.
This is how you would start. This is when people let it get real dark and brown, that's how they start the base to a gumbo. But this is basically how you can thicken any gravy or sauce.
Anything you want, to be honest.
Any kind of sauce.
Well,
so we're
sauce,
doing cheese sauce.
Yeah.
Okay, so you see that?
Yeah, and I guess for our recipe we'll want a nice thick creamy
cheese sauce
for
macaroni.
our macaroni and cheese.
Okay, and then you want it to just kind of cook out for a minute, just to cook out that raw flour taste.
Once it, in my opinion, once it starts to look in my opinion, Once it starts to look like cauliflower tips, I think that's when you know it's like good. If you can see here, it does kind of look like cauliflower. So, yeah.
Okay, so it's bubbling, sizzling. We got that going.
And also, once it smells good,
you can start smelling that it's a little toasty and nutty.
Basically
You can
delicious.
smell the butter. Oh, it's toasting, almost like a popcorn sort of smell.
Or just a
And you know
delicious
that,
smell.
okay, you know the raw flour is kind of cooked out. So you're gonna go in with 3.5 cups of milk. So here's 1.
You said 3.5 cups.
1, 2,
And 2. And 3.
I'm gonna start with 3 and then I'll come back with that extra half. Plus that heat is just so hot it's burning my hand.
Yeah.
Let me turn the heat down a little bit.
Just a little
Our
bit.
stove gets really hot, this gas range.
Now you just mix that.
Okay, so you want to whisk out all the little flour clumps and stuff. Scraping down the sides. Get all those little flour clumps whisked in.
Kind of just looks like milk almost through the camera at least.
Yeah, they're in there. I'm trying to break them up.
In the camera, it looks like milk.
It's starting to dissolve. Once this starts boiling
My
again,
bad.
then it'll start thickening.
Right now,
So
it was spitting just a little bit, so
and get the heat back up just a little bit.
be careful.
It looks thin right now, but it's gonna come together. It's gonna be nice and thick.
Yeah, especially with all the cheese that we have. Because we have 2 cups, I believe she said, of cheddar. And then we have, I forget, Monterey, 1 cup of Monterey. And then Colby Jack, 1 cup as well. So 4 cups of cheese total.
And Velveeta.
Oh, and don't forget the half
8
of
ounces.
Velveeta, which is 8 ounces. 8 ounces, sorry. I can't speak today. So it'll definitely be thick, creamy, and delicious.
So we're waiting for this to come back up to a boil. This is kind of annoying having to sit here and wait.
Yeah.
I guess in the meantime, while we're waiting for it to come back to a boil, we could go ahead and do our seasoning. So let's get that ready. I've got my measuring spoons here.
Okay, can you tell us what?
So 1 teaspoon, that's a half. Here's 1 teaspoon, okay?
Oh, sorry. What the heck?
So we're gonna get 1 teaspoon of salt. It seems like a lot, but trust me, the cheese sauce needs it.
Yeah.
So 1 full teaspoon of salt in here. And
1.
then the black pepper. I like to see the little specks of black pepper in there. So it's really however much you want. There's no ratio. Look, this is what I have here.
I think that's.
And I just,
Oh, you got some on your nails.
I'll rinse it out. Okay, so that's
Depends on how you like your pepper.
how much you want pepper, how much pepper you want, just to your
But
liking.
it is, in my opinion, like.
Back up a little bit, Maddie.
My bad.
Okay, you can see it's getting nice and thick now. See that?
Yeah.
And remember, we still haven't put that other half cup.
Now it kind of looks like a gravy.
We only put the three
Just to,
the
like-
3 cups of milk. We didn't do that last
Yeah.
half cup. It's 3.5.
To be honest, it looks like just like
Okay.
a little bit like a gravy.
So
just a
let's
little
put
bit.
that last half cup.
So maybe that's something
So we
you
did
can.
3 cups of milk, and then here's a half.
It's a half, estimated half, to be honest, because she didn't actually use a half.
Well, that was a 1 cup, and I poured about half in there.
I know, so an estimated half.
So, all right. So now we've got our base. Since we were on seasonings, let's go ahead and finish. This is dry mustard powder.
Oh, hold on, can you see it again? Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna put just a pinch. Look how much that is. That is literally how much you can squeeze between your 2 fingers, you know, just a pinch. That's it. That's it. Look how little that is.
Yeah, this is at.
It's hardly anything, but it gives it just a touch of that little bite of sharpness.
And yumminess.
But you don't want to overdo that because then it'll taste gross. So just a little, like I said, enough that you can pinch between your two fingers. That's it.
It'll also get like kind of a yellowish tint,
Okay.
but you can't really see that through the camera.
Ready for the cheeses.
No.
So here goes your 2 cups of shredded cheddar,
I don't think the order
1
you go
cup
in really
of the
matters.
Monterey Jack, and 1 cup of the Colby Jack. Might as well just throw all this
Yeah.
in.
The order you
Now,
put it in does not matter.
Kind of the perfect blend of finding the right cheese sauce is adding that Velveeta in there, because if you do just these cheeses, it can sometimes be a little bit grainy. The taste is good, but it can be a little grainy. So if you add that Velveeta, it makes it kind of silky and smooth.
Yeah, I think in my opinion it makes it more like creamy and silky.
Here, back up so we can see what we're doing here, okay?
My bad. Your hand is kind of blocking. Oh, there we go. Here's a good angle.
Okay, I'll just back up.
And you backed up.
There we go.
Well, it's really getting some color.
It's starting to turn a little yellow from the cheeses.
Well, cheese is yellow, or most of it is. At least if you used. Yeah, quite a lot.
Okay, now while that is melting and coming together, I'm gonna get my Velveeta over here.
Velveeta.
The 8 ounces. I used to cut it up into little chunks, but now I literally just tear pieces off into there.
It's whatever you prefer.
Yeah, whatever you want to do. Just kind of
Whether
tear.
you want to tear it apart with your fingers like a maniac, or you can cut it up very
We have this theory that they changed the recipe on Velveeta, because you used to be able to cut it cold into like little chunks, and now it's just this gooey mess. I think they changed, they did something different with the Velveeta cheese. It never used to be like this when I was a kid.
Yeah, I do kind of remember still that you could cut it up. But now that you say that, I noticed that. Zoe!
I don't need anything.
Sorry about that.
Okay. Back
Now-
up a little bit.
I am!
Okay, so
Now I gotta really zoom in. Oh, that was a bit too much. So that it looks like I'm actually close.
okay. Now you want to come zoom in a little bit on this.
Yeah.
The
just
chunks of Velveeta are melting in now.
make sure it gets melted.
Back up a little bit.
My bad, I had it zoomed in.
Okay.
So you can
So
get
they're
it
not all the way
melted.
melted yet. They're still melting in there, but I'm gonna get a spoon and do a taste test.
Oh, yum yum.
I think it needs just a little bit more salt.
Really?
Not too much, but
Just a pinch.
so you can kind of
Yeah, after this
Adjust
you
it.
can doctor it up or
And it's
adjust it
it's a
and
little bit thick, so I think I'm gonna add just a splash more milk.
yeah, it really depends on what you want.
So it's one of those things that comes out different like almost every time you make it. You could even put a splash of chicken broth. You could experiment with different types of cheeses. This is just for that classic
This is just what we
macaroni and
use.
cheese.
But it's all on how you want it.
Velveeta's almost melted, so I'm just gonna let it finish melting, and then let it cool down, and then I'll store it in a Tupperware container and put it in the fridge so that tomorrow for Thanksgiving, all we have to do is boil noodles and warm this cheese sauce back up and mix them together in buttered noodles, and you have macaroni and cheese. The
Smile.
end.